Hey guys, so before I get into this one, I want to remind you from what we said in the last video that we want to contextualize the information that we are getting from whatever influencer that we're getting our information from. In my case, I want to give you that context, and that context is that I am trying to prepare you to be able to wrestle effectively and safely without injury. And so when I was in the last video, we were talking about different influencers and the fact that they are going to be predominantly hypertrophy focused. Now, another one that comes up is like, not talking about, trying to do a lot of ab workouts and things like that to try to develop your abs. A lot of them will say, well, you need to focus on fat loss in order to get your abs to show, and that is fundamentally true, but that does not necessarily mean that you should be avoiding your core stabilizers and doing workouts that will actually get these to function better so that you can avoid low back injuries. And that is, the primary function of the rectus abdominis, the obliques, and the thoracolumbar fascia, the multifidus, rectus spinae, quadratus lumborum, your psoas, your iliacus, all these muscles that create core stability. And so, to say, okay, you shouldn't be doing, ab workouts, which can, for a lot of people, be synonymous with core workouts. These workouts are for core stability. And so when we were talking about the different phases of training, the first phase of training should be core, not necessarily core, but global stabilization, right? The ability for us to stabilize different parts of our body. And I know that in the last video I was pointing out that, we don't need to get onto a Bosu ball, which is a half ball with a flat top on it. And if you actually look at the video or you look at the instructions for Bosu, they always have the curved side up and you stand on it, and then you do your squats or whatever on the soft side. And I don't particularly like doing that. The reason why is because it forces your feet to be in this high arch external rotated position, which is not biomechanically sound. So I will usually put it hard side up so that you're standing on that flat surface. But usually when I'm doing that, I am doing it with little to no weight. Maybe I'll be doing a goblet squat, maybe I'll be doing it with just body weight. And the purpose of this is to go in what NASM refers to, National Academy of Sports Medicine, as the stabilization phase of training. And this is predominantly for injury prevention. And so when we're doing stability training, the whole purpose of that is to get ourselves off balance. It does not really benefit us to do this under high load. This is actually generally going to be done on light load. So what we're going to do is, if we're going to do squats, the best thing that I'm going to be seeing when somebody is doing a Bosu squat is I'm going to see them trying to squat, but for whatever reason, their body is making their legs go, right? That type of thing is your body trying to figure out how to stabilize in that position with those external stimuli being applied to the muscles. Other things that we could be using, I don't know where my Erickson pad is. I'm guessing Jet took it downstairs to use for like bridges with a barbell or something like that to pad his hips, so I haven't checked, but an Erickson pad is just an inch thick foam, inch and a half, maybe up to 2 inches, and it's a soft foam so that when you stand on it, it is not quite an even surface. That's going to be one of the lowest levels that you can have as far as stabilization training goes. So if you're doing like a single leg deadlift, or you are doing a drop lunge or anything like that, having that unstable pad might actually help you to develop ankle, knee, and hip strength. And to kind of progress that up, I actually find these to be oftentimes a little bit too much, but you can do your single leg deadlifts, lunges, whatever, on these little balance discs. They are, challenging to use. So right now, because you guys know that I have got this torn meniscus, my body is trying to figure out how to use those muscles and stabilize that joint. This is another reason why Bosu balls exist. This is why these discs exist. This is why we have Erickson pads. So I might just come up here and I might just have a soft bend in my knees so that my muscles still have to engage, and I might just balance on this disc. I can progress this again to go into a single leg deadlift movement pattern, right? Even with weight might actually make it a little bit easier. I recommend probably about 20, 25 pounds for most people, 15 pounds maybe. Again, we're not doing this to do heavy weight. We're trying to change what our body is doing over that structure, so that it has to figure out how to stabilize with this bad ankle position, right? This unstable surface that we're standing on. Other tools that we have, like we have physio balls, Swiss balls, especially for a jiu-jitsu person. All right, so I got a confession. I just did this and I biffed it. So, I actually like to use the padded slam balls for this particular drill, but for our knee right switch side drills, you know, being here, switching to the other side, switching to the other side. I'm not doing it for real right now because I just biffed it really hard. So, but you know, that is something that you might incorporate into it. I would not necessarily do like, you know, people get on here on their knees and they'll do overhead press and whatnot. I don't think that's necessarily that helpful. But doing core workouts, this is good for stability work, it's good for hamstring curls and stuff like that. So it's a good tool, just be careful. So when we're looking at trying to become better wrestlers, we have to keep in mind that we're going to be, you know, down here, people are going to be pushing us, so we need to be able to adapt to, you know, external forces. We need to do reaction drills, things like that. I would start those relatively on a lighter scale, right? And, you know, because we are having these external forces pushed on us, having some of that stability in our lower limbs, in our core, is actually going to help us, especially in the standing portions of wrestling, because we are actually going to be able to adapt to those external forces moving us around on the mats. So this just gives us some basic stability to help prepare us for higher levels of exercise.